Hello everybody. I'm jumping on today to make a quick Mother's Day card. Just gonna make sure that I get everything running properly. Share, I'm gonna share it to my regular page. Okay. Alright, looks like I'm all set up. If you're watching live, say hello. If you're watching the replay, just type watch the replay. Just let me know what you think. I'm going to try two different things here. A little light. All right, there's like a delay from what I'm looking at, from what I'm doing. But I'm trying to see if it looks better with or without the light. Yeah, it looks better with the light. Okay, so I'll leave the little light on. The problem with the light is it leaves a little halo sometimes on things that I'm showing you, but that's okay. So, hope everybody is having a good Thursday. I have been crazy busy this morning. We're trying to figure out some plants we want to plant, so I've been out there just kind of getting ideas. And went on a little cleaning spree this morning. You know, wasn't on the list, but all of a sudden I was cleaning the house this morning. So anyways, looks like I've had a few minutes here. Seeing if anybody jumps on to watch. If you're watching again, make sure you say hello. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started. So I am making this Mother's Day card. If you know me, you know that Mother's Day cards are actually very difficult for me to make. But the last couple of years, I've done a little better with it. This year I actually bought a stamp set that said Happy Mother's Day, just so I could make Mother's Day cards. So I would call that progress. I'm very happy with that. So what I wanted to do was showcase some of our designer paper. And this paper is called Painted Illusions. It's 12 by 12. And it's one of our product of the month products. So what that means is with a $75 order, you can actually add this onto your order for only $5. So I'll do a quick little snapshot and show you the paper. I don't know if the whole thing will be in this screen, but that's one side. This paper is very, very pretty. I love these scallops and I love the ombre look to it. I'm using this on another card that I'm going to show you the next time I go live. This is what we're using today, this pattern, and this is what the other side looks like. And then we have this one and this pretty floral. I'm definitely going to use that maybe for another Mother's Day card because I really like that one. So just wanted to show you that. It's called Painted Illusions. It's very pretty, and I am going to make a Father's Day card and show you that sometime in the near future. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm always at a loss somewhere to put the card while I'm working. So we are using, for the flowers, we are using the Lovely Arrangements stamp set and the coordinating dies. And I'm using this stamp set called Family Ties to do the Happy Mother's Day. So I'll set that stuff down and we will get started. So I need some scratch paper. This is just scratch white cardstock. And I'm gonna get out my Memento Ink Black, which as you've probably heard me say, I put it on one of these larger ink pads using the re-inker just so that I had a better work surface. And I need to stamp 2 of the large flowers, 1 of the smaller flowers, and then using soft seafoam green, we're going to stamp a couple of leaves. This is probably one of my favorite greens when I want to add green, but I don't want it to just be like in your face green. I love the soft seafoam. We'll just move that out of the way. And then on another scratch piece of paper, we are going to stamp the Happy Mother's Day. And from that stamp set called Family Ties, it's actually 3 different individual stamps so that you can kind of mix and match. So I'm going to actually start with the word mothers. Then I'm going to come in with the happy. Stand up so I can see what I'm doing. And then the day. When I do the Father's Day card, which I've already designed, we're going to actually stamp the words like separately and kind of piece them together. So it'll just be like a little bit different look. So stay tuned for that. Not sure when I'm doing it yet, but maybe on Saturday. I almost hate to make promises because I feel like life just throws me curveballs all the time. Well, my own curveballs, like I went out and started working on plants this morning. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut out, I'm going to leave this here actually, the Happy Mother's Day, and I'm just going to fussy cut it. So I'm literally going to just come in. I like to stay, you know, within about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, close to the letters. Leave a little white boundary. I like to round my edges, as you can see. Sometimes I'll do straight edges, but for the most part I like to round them. So we have our Happy Mother's Day sentiment cut out. And then we're going to do some coloring of our flowers, and we are using Daffodil Delight blends because yellow is my favorite color, and I just feel like that goes really well. The yellow goes really well with this designer paper, which is, I believe, a Misty Moonlight hue. So I'm going to start with the dark. I'm going to use the brush in, and I'm going to do the center of the flowers. And then I just like to come in on all the little detailed lines. You can see I am all about fast coloring, but you can really do some magnificent things with our blends if you like to take your time and get really creative. I'm going to come in with the light, and I'm going to use the brush end again, and we're basically just going to fill it in. And remember, when you use your blends, you always want to do it more on the side versus straight up and down, unless you're using the fine point end. And you can do that straight up and down, but the brush end, you want to do it more on its side. I actually thought about doing all the coloring ahead of time, and then I thought, no, I'm going to show you guys how I do it, just super quick and easy. With the brush end, I always like to try not to get all the way to the edge. It's very easy for it to bleed over. If it does bleed over, we actually have a color lifter blend that you can use. So if you accidentally color outside the lines and it bothers you, you can clean it up a little bit. I accidentally colored out of the lines in the first one, but it doesn't bother me, so I'm okay with it. All right. So just like that, I've colored. If you want, like if you feel like you're missing a little bit of detail, you can come back with the fine point tip on the darker. you can just add a few more little highlights in there. This is where really it's a matter of how much time you feel like spending on it. Sometimes it's nice to just add a little bit of the darkness back in there. All right. And then we're going to cut these out using our cut and emboss machine. And I'm actually going to bring out my small one. So because I'm using the small one, I'm just cutting these down to manageable sizes, because the smaller one just doesn't have like the big platform that the big one does. But the big one, I'm afraid you won't be able to see it in the camera view. So I want to be able to actually show you me cutting it out. So this is our small one, and I'm hoping it's going to fit. Once the live behind me catches up, I'll tell you if it's gonna fit so you can see what I'm doing. And we're gonna put down our base plate, which is plate number 1, and we have our sandwiches to put down for each piece. Oh yeah, you can see what I'm doing. All right, good. And I'm going to just take one of the dies that cuts out the flower. Sometimes you gotta just work it around till you figure out the right place. There we go. And I like to use a little bit of washi tape to hold it in place. So just do that. So there's one, and we can actually do a couple at a time. So I'm going to do one of the leaves at the same time. Since we have to cut the leaf twice and the flower twice, we'll go ahead and just do them at the same time. All right, and then we need our top of our sandwich, our other clear plate, plate number 2, and we're just gonna run that through. We have one leaf, one flower. We're gonna do the flower again. Piece of the washi tape again, and the leaves. And our top clear plate for our sandwich. Now, if you don't have either of our machines yet, first of all, I highly recommend it because they're awesome. But I also recommend that if you're going to get one, you get the big one, because this little one is great for doing stuff like this. It's great for traveling with. The only problem is that it doesn't fit everything. So any of our larger dies won't fit through there, and our embossing boulders really don't fit through there either. So it's one of those things, if you're going to invest, then just go for the full size. And then you won't need the small one unless you plan to travel with it a lot and you want the smaller one, or if you do live videos like I do, sometimes this is very convenient size. So all right, now we're doing our smallest flower, which also has a die that cuts it out. So there's our smallest. Just move this out of the way. All right, so if you're watching live, say hello. Watching on the replay, make sure you tell me you watched on the replay. Love to hear what you think. If you love the card, this actually is an original, which I didn't even use anything for inspiration. It's truly an original. Like sometimes I use things for inspiration and still make it my own. This time I just did this all on my own. So I have a piece of white thick cardstock that I've cut in half and scored in half for my base. And we're just gonna give that a good crease with our bone folder. I have a piece of the designer paper from that Painted Illusions 12x12 designer paper pack, and a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock to mat it on. The designer paper is 4 inches by 5 1/4. The daffodil cardstock piece for matting is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I always like to work in 1/8 increments. You can also work in quarters though, if you want a little bigger border. And again, I'm just adhering this using my 5 dots of glue. Put that on the front of our card. When I first made this, I actually wanted the card to go this way. But the more and more I played with it, I just could not make it work with everything I was trying to put on there. So I said, never mind, we'll just do it the other way. So I like to lay my pieces down and just get an idea of where I'm going with them before I start to glue them. Because I just kind of want to make sure I got enough room for everything. Piece needs to come out. There we go. We got the leaves. We got the other leaves. So yeah, I like to just get them in place, kind of just like, where are they going? And then once I know where they're going, then you can pick them up. And you don't need a lot. I just put a little bit in the middle. See, I'm using very little glue. Last but not least, the last flower, or the last leaf, I mean. I'm gonna just tuck that in there. And for our sentiment, I'm going to use dimensionals because I want to pop that off a little bit. We're going to just flip it over. I probably only need 2 actually. I'm going to just use 2 dimensionals. And we're going to put that in place. Hoping it's straight because I can't look straight down at it. And for the finishing touches, we are going to use the Moody Palette Glossy Dots. I love these. I love the different colors. The white, the balmy blue, the old olive, and the secret sea. They're very versatile. You can use them on so many different things. I've gone through several packs of these embellishments. And we're going to use our Take Your Pick tool, and I'm using the white. So I need a couple of the large white, because I'm going to just put them in the center of the flowers. And then a small white. And if you wanted to, you could add some around the outside. I like to work in odd numbers most of the time. Sometimes I will just do 2 because a lot of our embellishments come in like a large and a small. And if you really want to maximize and make as many cards as you want with them, if you just use 1 of each, sometimes then that works out better for you. So sometimes that's what I do. But most of the time I do 3s, and especially since this had 3 flowers, I just stuck with the 3. And that is the final card. So again, we used the Lovely Arrangements stamp set and coordinating dies, the Family Ties stamp set for all your Mother's Day and Father's Day needs, and the Painted Illusions 12 by 12 designer paper. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, comment below. Happy to answer them. Have a great day.